Today I have a guest with me, my longtime friend Suzanne Biro. She writes this wonderful food blog, which I've been reading, and you should too. It's called Food by the Gearhead's Wife. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, I'm a lover of all things food, but my husband is a lover of all things mechanical.
Great. Well, let's get started. What are you making for us today?
Well, we're going to be making something that I call caramelized eggplant. It actually came about from an error. I left it on the stove for a little bit too long, and not wanting to throw anything away, I tried it, and actually it's now my favorite way to eat eggplant. You really want to use these kind of eggplants. These ones are called fairy tale eggplants, but they're little tiny ones. And I like to slice them about a centimeter thick. You don't have to be too precise about this. They do start to brown as soon as you cut them, so just be mindful of that. For this dish, it doesn't really matter. So now that you have your eggplant all cut up, fire it into a pan, and you actually need quite a lot of olive oil. But don't be afraid at this point. I sometimes will add quite a bit as I go here, up to 1/4 cup, maybe even a little bit more depending on your eggplant. The eggplant is going to soak up a lot of that olive oil, so at this point you just want to stir this over about a medium heat at this point, but you don't want the eggplant to actually start to brown. You want to just kind of soften it up a little bit. If you add a little bit of salt at this point, it'll help to draw out some of the moisture. So I've chopped up some garlic. I've finely minced it. This is about 4 cloves. I like to use quite a lot. You can use more, you can use less, depending on your taste. And I just add that into the pan, like that. Give that a good stir.
And you don't add it right at the beginning, right?
No, you don't. You have to let the eggplant cook down a little bit, 5 minutes or so. I like the addition of a chili. I usually chop up 1 chili. This is a bird's eye chili. This is the ones that we're using today. Some people call them piri-piri chilies. They are very, very spicy. You can try this by cutting off the tip and just touching it to your tongue, and you'll know how much heat you really want. If you want a little bit less heat, split this when you're cutting it and scrape the seeds out. The seeds actually hold a lot of the heat. So I'm going to add the chili in here too.
Looks spicy.
It is, it's good.
Yum.
I like to use it just as a side dish. It's great with curries, or it's great with any kind of meat that you want to pair it with. So once you've mixed the garlic and chilies in, you need to turn this heat down to fairly low, just like you would when you caramelize onions. You want everything to be on a very, very low heat and to cook very, very slowly. So that's just going to cook down and let it go for about 45 minutes to an hour. Anytime you walk by the stove, just give it a quick stir. Don't worry too much about it. The bottoms of the eggplants will start to kind of stick to the bottom of the pan and start to go into mush. Absolutely fine. Just give it a stir that all in, all the crispy bits. That adds to the flavor and the texture of the finished dish. It's really good. As you can see too, it's also kind of a mushy gray color. And so with the addition of fresh basil leaves, and give that a stir. And you don't want to cook the basil too much. You just want to give it a wilt just to let it release its oils. There, and that's the point where you want to take it off the heat, because the residual heat from the eggplant is going to wilt it the rest of the way. Perfect.